Cillizza, what about Candy Crowley? She was criticized by conservatives primarily for her on-the-spot fact-checking on the Libya question. And before you answer, let's hear how that exchange went.
The day after the attack, Governor, I stood in the Rose Garden and I told the American people and the world that we were going to find out exactly what happened, that this was an act of terror, and I also said that we're going to hunt down those who committed this crime.
I think it's interesting the president just said something which is that on the day after the attack he went to the Rose Garden and said that this was an act of terror. You said in the Rose Garden the day after the attack it was an act of terror. It was not a spontaneous demonstration. Is that what you're saying?
Please proceed, Governor.
I want to make sure we get that for the record, because it took the president 14 days before he called the attack in Benghazi an act of terror.
Get the transcript.
He did, in fact, sir. So let me call it an act of terror.
Can you say that a little louder, Candy?
He did call it an act of terror. It did as well take 2 weeks or so for the whole idea of there being a riot out there about this tape to come out. You're correct about that.
And now let's hear President Obama in the Rose Garden the day after the attack.
No acts of terror will ever shake the resolve of this great nation, alter that character, or eclipse the light of the values that we stand for.
So, Cillizza, what do we make of those exchanges and Candy's comment?
Sure. Again, so much of this, I feel like I keep coming back to this, but so much of this, Diane, depends on the partisan lens through which you see things. President Obama, on the technical point, was correct. He did, as you heard, use the phrase acts of terror. Now, Republicans say, well, he was talking broadly about it. This was not specific. Now, he was talking about Benghazi, but he was not talking specifically about the Benghazi attacks. Again, some of this is kind of partisan semantics. I wrote, and I really firmly believe this, that moderators, Candy included, and I'll say just for people who know, she is a friend of mine. I know her. I've known her, for a while now. I think she's a really great reporter, and I thought she did a very credible job. Moderators are in something close to a no-win situation in these debates. They've become an issue in each of the three debates. Jim Lehrer in the first debate, Martha Raddatz in the VP debate, and now Candy, because these debates are litigated by the campaign lawyers to within an inch of their lives in terms of what you can and cannot do. The candidates don't abide by the rules that their campaigns set up, and so they put the moderators in these extremely difficult positions. I thought Candy, in the moment, did exactly what she should do, which is say, on the technical point, Barack Obama did in fact use the phrase acts of terror the next day in the Rose Garden, but his White House was sending very different signals. There was a lot of mixed signals. The origin of, was this a YouTube clip or was this a planned attack? All those sorts of things.
But as Chris knows, while there's a memorandum of understanding negotiated between the two campaigns, Candy Crowley, the moderators do not sign that. They're not party to it. Neither is the Commission on Presidential Debates.
That's an important point.
The moderator is sort of like the captain of an airplane, right? In the end, it's up to that person to kind of steer the conversation. And you saw Jim Lehrer get criticized for not asserting himself enough. You saw criticism of Candy for doing that fact check on the spot. I thought they both did good jobs, and jobs with the vision that they had for how the debate would go. I think, in fact, all three of the debates we've had so far, I would really praise the moderators for good performances in difficult roles.
Cherry's high.
I agree with that. I think it's a no-win position. And everybody who writes about this campaign knows that the closer you get to November 6th, the more the polarized the viewing public, the reading public becomes. And almost anything that's said or done becomes the subject of some partisan attack. No matter how neutral you try to be, somebody doesn't see neutrality in what you try to do. And if that's true, if you write, as I do, a newspaper column, it's true on steroids if you're moderating a debate before 67 million people.